Hey guys, yeah, one of the old night walks. My daughter ain't with me, so I thought, you know what? I was kind of, I wasn't going to come out, but I really wanted to, and clear my head. I had a bloody tension headache all day, and started off all right. I did my run and all that, and then I felt all right, and then your mind starts going a bit, and then all of a sudden tension headache. Great. So it's actually feeling not too bad, but you know what? When I do a video, it makes me feel better, and I want to tell a bit of a story because this story's been, I don't know why, I have no idea why, but it's been rolling around in my head for some time now of driving my wife's car, and I mean, to give you a bit of a background, how I met my wife was I had a mate, really good mate of mine, Dave. We all called him either Pickett or Yorkie because he was from the north of England, so he got the nickname Yorkie. And he was dating an American girl, and I just split up with this girl that I was with for 6.5 years, and he was due to come over. They were planning it, and I said, "Hey man, you mind? I've always wanted to come to the States. I'm like, do you mind if I tag?" He's like, "Well, I'd have to ask." So he gets hold of his girlfriend and asks, and then I end up talking. We're going a bit dark here because the old bloody lamps are, I don't know what's going on. So I ended up talking to her too, and I'm like, "It's all good." Yeah, come on. So I ended up coming to the States. Anyway, cutting a long story short, him and the girl ended up breaking up. He ended up staying in England, and I came over. And how that all happened was, while I was in the States, staying with, I just got hit with a sprinkler, staying with my mate's girlfriend and him, the girlfriend starts telling me, "Oh, I got a mate coming up from Florida." I'm like, "Oh yeah." And I just, trust me, wasn't interested. Hell no, ain't gonna happen. I was done. I'm like, "No, it's all right." But I thought, hey, so she shows me a picture and all that. I'm like, "Yeah." And anyway, the day came when she turns up at the door, and it's so funny because I went and opened the door when she turned up. She drove all the way up from Florida, which is about 16 hours, something like that, depending on how you drive. You can do it in shorter, but it's good to go through the night and do that and follow the 18 wheelers. Tell you the truth, if you want to book it in a better time. But she turns up on the door, and here I go opening the door after all the drive that she's taken, and I go, "Hello," and she looks at me with this like look, and then steps back and looks at the apartment number because she thought she had the wrong apartment. And that was it. We started driving together. If we were going out, my wife and I would drive together, and my mate and his girlfriend would drive, and we just struck up a friendship. That's all it was. We just started liking the stuff that we liked, and I found out, she introduced me to Pretty Ape Machine and Candlebox. Not Pretty Ape Machine. Yeah, Pretty Ape Machine. The 9 Inch Nails disc. That was my first taste of 9 Inch Nails. It was a Pretty Ape Machine album. And Candlebox, she introduced me to, and some bands in there, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, shit, we like the same." Anyway, I ended up going back to England, didn't think anything of it. But she called. Well, actually, she didn't. The girlfriend did. And then all of a sudden, I picked the phone up. "Hello," and it's my wife Tracy on the other end. And that was it. It just went from there. But anyway, down to the racing bit. She owned this Mazda MX-3 and a little white sports car. I think it was I asked her actually before I came out, and she says it was. I thought it was a 5-speed gearbox, but it was a 4. She said. I could have sworn it was a 5, but anyway, kind of makes the story even stranger and how I did it actually. But so there, I used to have to drive because we only had the one car. We lived in an apartment. We were freaking piss poor, and I had this chefing job at this dinner fair called Burnbrae Dinner Fair in Maryland, and it was an absolute banging job. I got cooking and theatre, the two of my loves, because I love theatre. I'd rather go to the theatre than go to the movies, to tell you the truth, because there's an art to it. Let me stand here with the light. Here we go. So she was driving this little white sports car, and so I had to drive to work, and it's on this real long stretch of road where I had to go. And I came out of work this one afternoon, and I'm coming down like straight to go back to where we lived, and this car comes like pulling up on the left hand side, giving it the old like, you know, wanting to race. So I'm like, oh, how am I gonna do this? So but I'm not one to back down. Unfortunately. Well, no, it was fortunate for me. So anyway, here we are. We're at this light, and I'm like, right, I'm gonna gun it. I'm gonna bring the clutch right away up because it was a stick, which I love sticks. Give me a stick any day of the week. You got so much more control with a stick. It don't make you a lazy driver, I don't think. I think it keeps you on your toes a little bit better with a stick. I do like driving a stick, but anyway. So I bring the clutch up, and as soon as the light went, I'm already gone. First gear, I've revved it right up, but instead of going into bleeding second gear, I just jumped straight to third. And we are booking. And then I banged up in the fourth, and I'm like, I ain't got no more. So it was a game of chicken at that point, because it was, you know, the speed limit. I don't know what it was, but we got to about 90. I remember glancing down, looking at it, and I thought, this is just chicken now. Who's going to back down? I ain't. So I just kept going, and the old clock was going up in miles per hour, and all of a sudden he just went and backed up. So yeah, my wife didn't know, because her car is like it's like one of her kids. She's really, you know, because it was one of the first things that she actually owned. Right, this car, she actually bought her own car, and man, you know, I've spent 4 hours cleaning that bloody car. I remember doing it, being all bloody roasting out in Florida, cleaning this little motor, and you know, you could have it done in an hour, but not my wife. That thing was her puppy, but she didn't know I raced the car. She had no idea. And we was at this party one night, and I can't even remember what party it was. Anyway, I remember getting in with these fellas and start talking and start telling them the story, and my wife was standing right just not far from me, and she turned around and went, what? And then I had to explain it. Stay the course, guys. Namaste.